Hello, members and friends. Chris Marinero here, your Director of Golf, Trump National Golf Club, Westchester. I hope everyone is safe and doing well. Today's segment is from Paul Petrolak. He writes, Chris, what about having a segment on how to practice on the range and getting the most out of it? Mr. Petrolak, great question. As a golf instructor, I oftentimes get this question a lot. How come my driving range is so much better than my on-course play? Well, Mr. Petrolak, we're going to get this going. There's three things that I want us to remember throughout this segment today. Number one is that when we come to the driving range, we need to have a warm-up session first. So if you have 25 minutes on the driving range, I want you to take 5 minutes. I want you to stretch. I want you to work out your areas that you need help with to loosen up, or just to make sure that you're swinging the golf club correctly. Number two is practice with a purpose. Now, what does that mean, Chris? Well, what does that mean is I want you to put yourself in a game time situation on the driving range. So if you're on hole number 2, par 5 at Trump Westchester, and you're hitting it into the water on the right-hand side every time you play, what I want you to do is come onto the driving range, and I want you to tee up a driver, and I want you to pick out in the distance. I want you to envision that fairway, and envision that to the right side of that is the creek. And that way there, you can practice that correctly, so the next time you get on the golf course, you're going to feel what it's like to have practiced that, and then you'll be ready for a game time situation. But it's important that, the last thing is quality over quantity. People often say, well, I got 25 minutes. I want to go out there and hit as many golf balls as possible. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not always good. I'd rather have you hit 10 golf balls with a purpose and putting yourself in good situations and practicing with a purpose that's going to allow you to become a better golfer out on the golf course. There's one thing that we can't replicate on the driving range, and that is nervous energy on the golf course. On the driving range, there's always the next golf ball and the next golf ball. But when we're on the golf course, we're always thinking about adding up our strokes, water right, water left. So that's why the driving range is so important, to make sure we're practicing with a purpose. So let's recap on what we just talked about. Number one, come to the driving range, get loose, do a couple warm-up stretches, hit a couple warm-up shots. Number two, practice with a purpose. Put yourself in a game time situation on the golf course. I use the example of number 2. It can be any hole out there. It can be a par 3, a par 4, or a par 5. And number 3, I want quality over quantity. The only way you're going to become a better golfer is if you practice smart. And by using these 3 tips, I promise you, you will get better. Mr. Petrolak, thank you so much for the response. And then members, keep piling them in, and I'll keep answering your questions. Stay safe, everybody.